What's up, everyone? Thanks for attending stream. Let's go ahead and start. So, real quick, we're going to be reviewing two trades that we took this week. One on February 10th, and then the other on February 12th, because those were the only two good trading opportunities that presented itself to us this week. And then after that, we'll review our trade journal and basically see how we're currently doing in terms of our performance for the year and expectations to come. So, with that said, our first trade is going to be on February 10th, 2025. So, let's go ahead and rewind back to the 10th on US 500 or SPY. Okay, so February 10th, starting off on the daily time frame. Let's go ahead and play this out and see what sort of bearish or bullish PD arrays we get. So that's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So here's the 10th right over here. Before we look at the charts, let's go ahead and start on the news. So February 10th, we have red folder news at 4:30 p.m., which means that we can trade safely throughout the entire New York morning session, but make sure to find an ideal quality setup since there is no news, which is not going to be giving us too much volatility for today. So if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we can find some sort of PD array that price is currently respecting. Right over here, I've highlighted a 4-hour bearish fair value gap that price is currently trading inside of. If we drop down to the 1-hour time frame, we can refine this even more so. So let's go ahead and rewind right to New York Open. So here, price is currently trading into this 1-hour bearish fair value gap. So this gives me a bearish bias for the day. So I'm only going to be looking for shorts. I'm not even going to waste my time looking for longs because that's what my bias is, bearish. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and drop down to the 5-minute time frame and look for our ICT bearish unicorn model. As you can see over here, price trades into this 1-hour fair value gap right here. Now we need to see some sort of displacement to the downside, leaving behind a fair value gap inside of our bearish breaker block in order to confirm an ICT bear unicorn and enter. So right over here, we have our entry right as price trades below the breaker block and creates a bearish fair value gap. So we have everything that we need for our entry model. We have a stop point that occurs right as price trades above this high. We have an ICT bearish breaker block form and then displacement leaving behind fair value gaps in its way. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and immediately enter with limit buy right as price trades into this breaker block. I'm going to place my stop loss above the breaker block high, and I'm going to target 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So right over here, what happens at 9:30 or 9:25? Price wicks up and closes below our breaker block, letting us know that price respects this level. And if we watch how the rest of this plays out, it hits our take profit right at 9:30 a.m. during market open. So this is a very clean first trade for the week, plus 2% for this day. So with that being said, let's go ahead and review one more time. On the daily time frame, nothing clear for us to look at. 4-hour time frame, we have a bearish PD array that's forming, which is this bearish fair value gap. On the 1-hour time frame, we will find that even more so and highlight it over here. On the 5-minute time frame, we see price trade into the 1-hour bearish fair value gap, creating displacement to the downside, introducing a sell program into the market with this ICT unicorn. We enter and exit at 2R. So very clean trade, very good setup for this day. Let's go ahead and move forward. So our next trade for this week is going to be on NQ or NASDAQ on February 12th, 2025. Let's go ahead and review that one. So if I pull up US 100, February 12th, let's go ahead and fast forward this a little more. Okay, so before we look at the charts, let's go ahead and look at the news. We have red folder news, CPI at 8:30, Powell speaks at 10, Trump speaks at 3:48. So you do not want to be in a trade while this red folder news drops. You want to enter or exit before these red folder news events happen. So let's go ahead and start off on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, price is still barcoding and trading sideways. So this is chop. I can't read this. So with that being said, I'm going to drop down to the 4-hour time frame and look for PD arrays that price is currently respecting. We're trading inside of. On the 4-hour time frame, we have this 4-hour bullish fair value gap that price is respected. Why is it currently respecting that? Because price traded below it and closed above it. So this lets us know that fair value gap is still valid. If we drop down to the 60-minute time frame or the 1-hour time frame, we can see we have another fair value gap over here that price is currently respecting. So this gives me a bullish bias for this day because price is trading inside of a bullish PD array. So with that being said, I want to see some sort of buy model get created, which is going to be a bullish unicorn setup. So if we drop down to the 5-minute time frame, you can see I've highlighted 9:30 market open, 10 to 11 the silver bullet session, and then this 1-hour fair value gap that price is traded below. So if we watch this, you can see right over here, we do have a buy model get created where we have our 2 breaker blocks, which are going to be the 2 upmost candlesticks to the upside here in white. We have a stop point occur as price trades below this low, and then we have displacement occur, leaving behind what? A bullish fair value gap right over here. So this candlestick over here is going to create a bullish fair value gap. I'm going to place my entry right at the top of the breaker block, place my stop loss right below the breaker block, and target 2-to-1 risk to reward. Now, what's special about our TP? If you look to the left, it's right next to the consequent encroachment of this bearish fair value gap. So this gives price a very strong incentive to trade into this area and respect this level, which makes it a very clean take profit. As you can see, price opens up here and trades down into the breaker block, giving us our entry. So we are now entered into this position. As price trades up, we're going to take profit at 2R. So right over here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 times 4. 20 minutes after our entry gets hit, price hits 2R. Very clean trade. What does price do after it hits the consequent encroachment, or 2R? Price dumps straight back to our entry right over here, just to then do what? Trade back into TP at 2R, filling in the majority of this bearish fair value gap. So, like I said before, we have everything that we need. We have our breaker block, we have our stop point over here, we have displacement with a fair value gap, and then we have clean take profit. So, with that being said, that is the final trigger that we took, or that we officially used our own money on for the Discord. But on the 14th, or on Friday, we did have another entry that we watched and monitored, but we did not enter it. Why? Because we already hit our 2% weekly profit target. We actually exceeded it this week, hitting 4% profits. So there was no need for me to take that trade, because last week I hit my 2% profit target and then I took a trade and lost. So I didn't want to lose the profits that I made this week doing the same mistake. So I was following my rules, being disciplined, professional, so that way I wouldn't give money back to the market. But if we go ahead and let NQ play out until Friday, I will show you guys what I saw on the charts that morning. So over here, if we rewind back to market open, on the daily time frame, this is where you'll start off. But before we look at the news, before we look at the charts, always start off with the news. As you guys can see on Friday, we have core retail sales at 8:30, and then Trump speaks at 2 p.m. So these are the times to avoid trading in. So let's go ahead and drop down and watch the daily time frame. What do you see here? Price has currently traded and created new all-time highs for NASDAQ by sweeping this high. So with that being said, I'm going to drop down to the 4-hour time frame and look for PD arrays that price is currently respecting. On the 4-hour time frame, I've highlighted a fair value gap. If we drop down to the 1-hour time frame, you can see that fair value gap even cleaner. So here we are on the 1-hour time frame. This is the 1-hour bullish fair value gap that I've highlighted. I'm going to go ahead and drop down to the 5-minute time frame and show you guys entries. So over here, let's go ahead and look at New York session at market open. So these 2 watt candlesticks are going to be the 2 upmost candlesticks, forming a swing high before price ends up making a new swing low, creating what? A stop hunt. So now that we have a stop hunt and a breaker block, all we need to do now is wait for price to create displacement, leaving behind a bullish fair value gap in order to make this an official ICT unicorn model and enter it off. So as we wait, what do we see here? Price creates two bullish fair value gaps. We have one over here and then another one right over here as price forms the third candlestick and closes above it successfully. So with that said, since we do have a bullish fair value gap inside of our breaker block, right after price hits a bullish fair value gap on the 1 hour time frame, we have a very clear ICT unicorn setup. So I'm going to place my limit buy right at the breaker block. I'm placing my stop loss right below the breaker block low, and I'm targeting 2 to 1 R with a final TP targeting London highs. Why? Because this is very clear buy side liquidity to the downside over here, creating trendline liquidity. So very strong TP profit target if you were to decide to sell 50% of your profits here and then sell the remaining at London high. So with that said, this is our entry model. It's currently the start of New York session, so we are allowed to enter it as soon as price hits our breaker block. Price wicks us into our entry over here, but if you missed that first time, don't be afraid. You do get several more entries right over here. Now, what does price do after entering? It eventually hits your first take profit right over here at 8:30 a.m. And then if you let the rest of this trade play out, you can see it eventually does hit London highs over here, giving you a final TP of around 5.5 to 1 restored ratio. So those are all the trades that we saw and took this week. The first two were ones that we took. This last one was one that we monitored because we already made our profits for the week, so I didn't want to risk losing my profits for this trade. But like I said before, let's do one last top to bottom analysis. Just end off this live stream on a good note. So daily time frame, price takes out swing high. 4 hour time frame, 4 hour fair value gap gets traded. 1 hour time frame, we refine this fair value gap even more in order to create our bullish buys for the day. 5 minute time frame, we have an entry model right around 7 a.m. when the New York market officially opens up. So price trades into the 1 hour fair value gap, creates a 5 minute ICT unicorn model. Price trades down into the breaker block, giving us our entry, and then hitting our take profit targets. But yeah, those are all the trades that we reviewed for this week and took. But besides that, if you guys have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Hope everyone has a great day. Peace out.